Chapter 9, The United States of America is Born. Now that the Declaration was written, the question was, how would the delegates react? On June 28, 1776, Thomas Jefferson delivered the Declaration of Independence to the Second Continental Congress. Jefferson did not like to speak in public because he had a lisp and he was very self-conscious about it. So he did not read the Declaration. He gave the written parchment to the President of the Congress, John Hancock. Delegates took turns gathering around the parchment to read the words that Jefferson had written. It created a huge buzz. Everyone had an opinion. But before any official debate on the Declaration, the Congress had to vote again on Richard Lee's proposal of independence. On July 2nd, 1776, it passed. The colonists had officially decided to break free of Great Britain and King George III. Who thought up the country's name? Unfortunately, it is not clear exactly who first called the new country the United States of America. Jefferson used it as the title of one of his first versions of the Declaration, but in the final draft, he changed it slightly to the 13 United States of America. Other people definitely used the name before the Declaration was written. For example, 3 months earlier, in March of 1776, a farmer in Virginia had written letters to a local newspaper referring to the United States of America. And a couple months before that, one of Washington's officers used the same name in a letter about hoping to travel to Spain to get that country's help for the war to create the United States of America. John Adams was so excited about the vote on Lee's declaration that he quickly wrote a letter to his wife Abigail. He said that July 2nd would be celebrated across the colonies as the birth of the new nation for years to come. Adams was only 2 days off. Then the debate started on the Declaration, and very quickly Thomas Jefferson grew annoyed. He sat in the steamy assembly room where the Second Continental Congress was meeting and listened to delegates pick apart his words. This is hard for all writers. The delegates debated with passion and sometimes even anger. To Jefferson, it was like having 55 editors making changes to something that they asked him to write. Some changes were minor and didn't bother Jefferson at all, but the other changes made Jefferson furious. He had originally included language condemning slavery. Most of the delegates from the South, including Jefferson, owned slaves, but he felt strongly that this new country, based on freedom, could not allow slavery to continue. Jefferson argued to keep the anti-slavery language in the Declaration, but too many Southern delegates said that if so, they would not sign the Declaration. John Adams and Ben Franklin, who agreed with Jefferson about slavery, convinced him that it was better to compromise than to have no declaration and no new country. Jefferson fumed, but he agreed. So the language ending slavery was cut. The fierce debate over the Declaration of Independence lasted 3 days. It might have lasted longer if it weren't for the horse flies that pestered the delegates throughout their meetings. There was a stable nearby, and swarms of flies came through the open windows. There was nearly 100 changes, making the Declaration 25% shorter than Jefferson's original. Jefferson returned to his room and wrote out a final version. He delivered it to the Second Continental Congress on the morning of July 4th, 1776. There was no more debate, no more arguments, and at this point, only 2 men signed the document: John Hancock, the President of the Continental Congress, and Charles Thompson, the Congressional Secretary. The United States of America was born. Hancock sent the document to a local printer to have about 200 copies made. By July 5th, they were being delivered to all the colonies. 1 copy went to George Washington in New York, where he was stationed with his troops. Ever since the fighting in Lexington and Concord in the spring of 1775, there had been small battles going on between the Continental Army and the Redcoats, especially in the Northeast. On July 8th, the Declaration of Independence was read aloud to a crowd outside Independence Hall. A bell rang repeatedly and everyone cheered wildly. The following day, General Washington had the Declaration read to his troops and New York colonists. The large crowd was so excited that they pulled down a 15-foot tall statue of King George III on a horse. Legend has it that the statue was melted down to make more than 40,000 bullets for the American Army. In mid-July, the Congress ordered a new, more cleanly written copy of the Declaration. This is what all 56 delegates to the Second Continental Congress signed. A Pennsylvania man named Timothy Matlock copied the Declaration in clean handwriting on large parchment paper, about 2 feet by 2.5 feet. August 2nd, 1776, this official version of the Declaration of Independence was presented to John Hancock, the President of the Congress. He was the first to sign. 50 delegates joined Hancock that day in signing the document. 5 other delegates signed it at a later date. The Revolutionary War began, and the brand new United States of America had to win because losing was not possible. For the past 200 years, the phrase, "Put your John Hancock here," means writing one signature. That's because Hancock's name on the Declaration of Independence can't be missed. It's the largest and centered directly under the text. According to legend, Hancock wanted his name to be big enough so that the king could see it without putting on his glasses. But many historians say that's only a story. They suggest that the real reason that Hancock's signature is so big is that he signed it first, and he didn't think about the fact that 55 other signatures had to fit in the empty space below the text. Chapter 10 is about what happened to the signers. I will read that chapter to you tomorrow. Thank you for listening.